For sure, I have many particular favorite male vocalists in the metal and rock spheres, but one of particular standout and frequent replay for me, and one of recent introduction to this channel over the past few months, Niels Johan Melin. Ever since I was formally introduced to him by name via Ad Infinitum's Afterlife, where he was a collaborative guest. And for anybody who's not humored that work, it's off of their Chapter 2 album. I can't recommend it enough. It is a killer number. You will thank me. Ever since, that was the first formal introduction. I specify that for a reason. I have just been deeply infatuated by his vocal range, his individual stylization of vocal delivery, a real force in the metal territory for sure, not just of European regard. Many of you know how much I love that aspect of credits within the music world. I can't get enough of that space at all, for good reason. But just in metal generally, Niels has such a fun presence that just him performing, it evokes a bit of like a nostalgia effect of sorts. I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, but every time I see him in presentation or just listen to his voice, I think in terms of when you see him, it's the hair of it. That's a lot of it talking in this respect, but I get this like rewind effect to classic rock and metal from years past. He brings that feeling in. It's such a unique experience. But ever since, again, I was first introduced, I've loved this guy. Such a presence in the metal sphere, and one that I've deeply revered at this point. And we've expanded beyond just one work as well. Many of you know I've been recognizing Amaranth a lot recently, where he is a current member there. But they're not his only credit. And I mentioned this in giving an introduction to Niels in the beginning for anybody who perhaps like myself was taking a first step formally. I specify again that Ad Infinitum was the first formal recognition for me on his credits, because I had been previously introduced to Amaranth, though I didn't know everybody by name then. It was very much an early days first perusing. I've deepened my understanding since. As I told you in the beginning, just to set a baseline again for a first approach, Niels is credited to two different groups, Amaranth, of course, and DYNAZTY. And it was my ambition to highlight DYNAZTY at one such point, given largely Niels' credits and good word of mouth. I think they were a name circulated among my comment section, and of course many of you know I deeply revere your recommendations, as I am somebody trying to self-venture his way down the European route in the music spaces, specifically within metal and rock, because it's just such a thriving space. As music is generally as an art form, I've mentioned many times, it is a favorite in my life amongst the artistic languages, and being able to showcase, it's been a long time aspiration, but being able to highlight good art in the world, specifically within the music spheres, and create a mutual experience of sorts, or at least the environment where we can entertain good work together. I love being able to share in the experience of you, especially as we explore new names from a variety of angles. I'm sure many of you, because they are a name that has been circulated in the past on comments. I know a number of you are familiarized to this group and you advance me in your familiarity. I'm sure there's plenty of songs you could recommend to me down below, plenty of experiences you could share if you wish to. Maybe some of you are approaching like me on a first name basis. From whatever angle we approach, we're going to humor DYNAZTY together, perhaps for the first time. Maybe some of you, again, will share completely at a parallel experience of sorts. Maybe some of you will begin the perspective of somebody who's very much taking a first footing, but somebody who's quite eager. Again, largely on Niels and good word of mouth in terms of circulation with DYNAZTY. And they have plenty of promise, at least in certain capacities, whether it be on the genre focus. I understand a bit of the hard rock influence, a heavy and power metal route. That automatically is attractive. I do lean more into the aggressive territory metal for sure, just as a personal favorite. And they are Swedish. I have now humored, I think at this point in my life, they're either the 6th or 7th entry in my playlist from Sweden. I'm sure DYNAZTY will be another fun name to add in. And as many of you know, in terms of getting a well-rounded perspective of the group, I have chosen to highlight a number of works, each to their own video for sure, but we're going to dig back a bit to, I forget the year that this album released, I think it's like in 2018 or something. It's one of their earlier entries. So we're going to start, in fact, on the album's emergence point with Breathe With Me, our first time with DYNAZTY. I've been waiting for this. They've been a name, again, it's been sitting on my list for a long while, and I've meant to get to them ever since my first introduction via Afterlife and building off of Amaranth. It just made sense to get here, and now we're going to do it. Our first time at DYNAZTY, and certainly not the last. I have a number of their songs listed, so if you're a DYNAZTY fan and you're looking for a well-rounded showcasing of this group, you're going to be in for a fun ride. I don't know a total at the moment, but it's extensive. But we're going to start with Breathe With Me. First ever piece together. I'm looking forward to the opportunity. Welcome in Niels again. Favorite? Can't wait to expand from what I've already heard. Okay, we're setting off on a real fun route here. first track to the album, in fact. This is strong as an entrance. Great bass, this beautiful power metal pacing, highly effective.
With every step you'll ever take, when the curtain falls, you're wide awake.
I like those builds. Anybody who's being introduced for the first time, see why I love him? Oh man, the builds on this, and they're stretching this first verse. I love it as an introduction.
It's the time, this is the place, let all of your fears distill to rest. This is the choice, this is a wild.
Oh man, this aggression is so good. And the light snares in the background. Oh man, strong vision here. And returning, nice. This pacing's highly effective. Man. It's so cool to hear Nils in isolation. I love the mixture of pitch. Those drops, highly effective. Beautiful transition. Man, this is good. In terms of first footing, oh man. Effective. Just an isolated stand-in, this feels like a classic rock and roll number from years past with fun aggression. Nice, key change, beautiful placement. Effective here. There we go. Go for the full reach. Man. Nice to return back. Okay, I like that idea for a conclusion. Especially to, again, harken back to that root if you were in love with the establishment of a song. I've spoken to that with key changes in the past. I'm generally a bit mixed, at least in my opinion. I generally go for key changes that feel faithful to the song, but aren't too disruptive, or where you're stuck in a state of longing in terms of the way a song establishes itself and where it spends most time in its key duration, where you're like, oh, I've fallen in love with the structure you picked here, and then this change comes in as an alteration. I prefer songs that make it feel deserved, and this one does. That was a fitting conclusion, but to rewind that again, to harken back again to the original opener, if you fell in love with that opening riff foundation as I did. I love that choice. Beautiful work as a first introduction. Simple delivery, at least. Simple sounds bad. Your expectations on a hard rock, power metal number, this easily plays to that. I don't mean to say simple again as a diss. I like how mainstream this is, at least on feeling, mixed with Nils' individual talents on vocals and the play around on his range. The lower octave choices mixed in with the higher inflections, especially my takes on that really high octave flare towards that end. So fitting in the procession. I knew I liked this group. I knew I would. Again, I'm a big metal guy by choice. I've been for a number of years, and this has a... You speak of Nils having a bit of a... I do at least. Evoking a classic mood. This song does. Again, that rock and roll procession just... Oh, it's so immediate with this number. Just... Ew. Sticks in you. It's good. Beautiful mood, effective pacing, great riff constructions. The patterns, especially on certain snares in the verse mixed in. Loved that. This feels so even... It's just an effective number. As an introduction, as an album opener, that's quite good. So this is the first track leading into Fire Sign. Following it, we will be consulting, I think, number 2. Yes. And that one, I believe, I think that one has a video accompaniment. I might be wrong on that front. I'll have to confirm that for sure. But The Gray. I can't wait to hear it. I'm excited. The first step into our Dynasty journey, and as I said, we'll be going down deeper with them in the future for a number of their works on 3 albums, I think is what I've lined up. Fire Sign, again, I dug back to give a well-rounded perspective and understanding for how much of a reach this group has in terms of different choices and structures they play around with to get the best foundation possible. That was good. That's a strong introductory number. You want like a classic rock and roll hard rock feel for power metal drive, that song has it. That's so good on pacing, delivery, vocals as always. Great navigation to the work, beautiful mapping, loved it. Again, you've humored Nils before, perhaps via Amaranth or Ad Infinitum's Afterlife. You know what you're getting, and my expectations were high, and they pleased. I can't wait to humor more. I'd imagine many of you would speak to the same feeling. Whether you happen to be a longtime fan, just even reviewing these pieces, right? Or as a first introduction, maybe you're having a parallel experience to me here. I'd love to hear about it down below. If you do wish to disclose your point of approach and your overall thoughts on Breathe With Me, it's a good number. I love that drive. Love the mood. Sits in quite well. You think back to like classic rock numbers, it's got that passion. I just love the delivery on this piece so much. I knew Dynasty would impress. I just had a suspicion. There's not been one song or artist I've not highlighted on the channel that I've not liked. Dynasty does not disappoint, and I cannot wait to humor them more. The Gray is next, but Fire Sign, at least on a starter, sounds like a killer album. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.